and we'll say goodbye to the home season on Sunday when they play a matinee. Thank you for joining us, and good evening. I'm Jamie Campbell, joined by Rance Mullenix. And Rance, I think when Blue Jay fans look back on the 2009 season, they'll think most about the great improvement of people like Adam Lind and Aaron Hill, and the emergence of a rookie in Ricky Romero, who may be slowing down a little late in the season.
He's had a rough time his last 4 or 5 starts, but overall, he's really come on, gained some valuable experience. In his last start, he got off to a rough start, gave up 4 in the first inning, but settled down and showed that form that has him still possibly in contention for a Rookie of the Year award. We'll have to see how he finishes up in his last 2 or 3 starts, but boy, that fastball, electric, and an outstanding curveball.
No one seems to be running away with that award at this point. Porcello's having a good year and pitching for perhaps a playoff-bound team in terms of the Tigers, and no position player has really stepped up like the pitchers have, and Romero is right there in the thick of things. So too, though, from a Cy Young standpoint, is the man going to the mound tonight for the Seattle Mariners, and that is King Felix Hernandez.
Yes, he can absolutely just dominate you. Electric stuff recently against the New York Yankees, just overmatched arguably the best hitting ball club in baseball. Just tremendous fastball, 97, great overhand curveball, all 4 pitches well above average at the major league level. And if his overall numbers aren't impressive enough, in his last 4 starts, 3-0 with a 0.58 ERA.
And put Hernandez in this group. Perhaps Greinke and Hernandez have the best numbers overall. Sabathia, Verlander, Beckett, they're probably bound for the postseason. The Yankees most definitely are. So we'll see how the voters make their decisions when the season comes to an end. And with more on tonight's game, we take it downstairs and bring in Sam Cosentino.
Jamie, this afternoon, J.P. Ricciardi addressed the media in regards to some of the Blue Jays prospects. We'll talk about some of the players going to the Arizona Fall League, as well as some of the injured players. Some good news on Dustin McGowan. We'll tell you about it throughout the course of tonight's game.
Good news indeed, Sam. Thank you so much. As they line up to enter the Rogers Center, the Blue Jays play their final home series of the year. They've got a date with the Mariners next on Rogers Sportsnet. A little bit like September after a few days worth of heat and humidity. In fact, it feels a little bit like Seattle as the Jays welcome the Mariners, who sit third in their division, the American League West. They make their first trip to Toronto this year. These teams faced each other in late July down at Safeco Field, and their lineup features Cooperstown bound Ichiro Suzuki at the top of the order. We'll talk about his historical numbers. These days, though, he's really aced the Blue Jays, a .355 career average. Hitting third, Jose Lopez, the first baseman, having a terrific year. He's 8 RBIs from 100 on the season. And a new left fielder, you see him batting sixth. Bill Hall was cast away by the Milwaukee Brewers and has found a home with Seattle. It appears Ricky Romero has 3 more starts left this year, so he gets a chance to improve on a 12-9 record, and tonight he makes his 27th start.
He'll be after his 13th win this evening, and he has lost 4 of his last 5. And the Jays most certainly hope that Ricky Romero gets back on track this evening. His last start started rough. First inning gave up 4, but then settled down, went 6. The last 5 shutout innings and was outstanding. And Romero with a very good arm, 90 to 93 with his fastball, very good overhand curveball, outstanding changes, which is really his go-to pitch. And he must establish the fastball in this evening and use his changeup. Defensively for the Jays this evening, it will be Snyder in left, Wells in center, Bautista in right, Encarnacion at third, McDonald at short, Hill at second, Overbay at first. Chavez will do the catching this evening, and Ricky Romero the pitching.
Here comes one of the greats of his era. Ichiro Suzuki leads off as Seattle comes in after a set with the Tampa Bay Rays. They arrived early this morning in Toronto. That average of .355, second best in the American League, 213 hits. And we're underway from Toronto. Thank you so much for joining us. It's the Mariners and Blue Jays tonight. As Romero, with 12 victories, works a 2-0 count on one of the best hitters in the game. Hitting a scorching .394 in his last 8. He sends that one foul. Consider that Ichiro now has 9 straight 200-hit seasons. He hit that plateau on September 13th in Texas.
There's only one weakness in his game, and that's he's a free swinger. He walked 31 times and 600 at bats coming into this ball game.
Well, to put that in context, 200 hits in a single season over 9 consecutive seasons ties the American League record established years ago by Ty Cobb of the Tigers. The all-time Major League record is 10 consecutive 200-hit seasons from the hit king, Pete Rose. I would suggest Ichiro will easily amass 200 next year, barring injury. He's come a long way very quickly. It's hard to think that he won't find himself with a plaque in Cooperstown at one point. And what do you know? Base hit. This is what he does so well. And Rancy makes it look so easy.
He does. I have never seen anyone with better hand-eye coordination than Ichiro.
So that's number 214 on the year. He was 2 for 4 last night in Tampa Bay. Consider that Ichiro Suzuki has not gone hitless in consecutive games since August of last season. It's amazing what the man has been able to accomplish since coming over from Japan. And so he stands at first beside Lyle Overbay. Franklin Gutierrez is the center fielder, and he steps into the batter's box. These Mariners are really putting together a very respectable year considering the awful season they had in 08. Romero got off to a quick start this year, turned a lot of heads in April and May. Has put together a fine season, but has slowed a little bit since. He suffered his 9th loss on Saturday in Tampa Bay. 1 ball, no strikes to Gutierrez, and a ground ball to short. McDonald underhands to Hill. He goes to first, and Romero enjoys a double play.
Ricky Romero, with his stuff, if he throws strikes and stays around the strike zone, he's going to be successful. And John McDonald and Aaron Hill in the middle of that infield make it look pretty easy.
And they did well to clear the bags, because the man stepping in now, Jose Lopez, is having a terrific season. He of 25 home runs, 92 RBIs, leads the team with 37 doubles, and has a batting average on the road at .309. He's hitting only .222 at Safeco Field, but .309 away from home. Very similar to the numbers that Vernon Wells has put up this year. Low average at home, high average on the road. Lopez, normally a second baseman, plays first tonight. He waves at that, 1 and 2. And so into his windup goes Romero. Sends a breaking ball, and Lopez is trying to argue there with Chris Guccione. He wants an appeal at first, and Guccione won't give it to him. That's a strikeout, and that ends the top of the first inning. Changed much from last night. Jose Bautista leads off. He had a double and a triple in the game last night. Adam Lynn bats third and hits .360 career against the Mariners. The only change is behind the plate. Raul Chavez checks in. He bats eighth. Rod Barajas gets the night off. And that might not be a bad thing, because Felix Hernandez has been dealing this year. Check these numbers.
16 and 5. The numbers across the board are outstanding. And if you want to go back to August 1st, since that time, he's 5-1 with a 1.77 ERA. So the last 2 months of the season, there has not been a starter in baseball any better than that man.
Here's Bautista taking strike one. What's remarkable about Hernandez is that this is his 136th start in the major leagues. He's only 23 years of age. He's younger than Ricky Romero, who's in his first year in the bigs. Didn't the Mariners find themselves a gem when they signed this young man at the age of 16 to a free agent contract? Hernandez made his big league debut at the tender age of 19 years. Kicks and fires, gets a swing from Bautista, down he goes, and nothing new for King Felix. He gets the strikeout, and he's now 3 away from 200 of them on the season. Let's get a scouting report.
Outstanding arm, a 4-seam and 2-seam fastball. That last pitch was a 2-seamer that struck out Bautista. Very good slider, curve, and change. He has a very live arm, and most certainly is capable of dominating any ball club in baseball.
Strike one on Aaron Hill.
He was pretty good in his last outing against the New York Yankees. Complete game, 8 hits, and the Mariners won that game 3-2.
Oh hum. Here's Hill, whacking it down the line. He's got a base hit. Off it goes into the corner. Ichiro slings it into second, but Hill is safely in there with a double.
His 34th on the year, and this is just excellent hitting. A curveball stays up a little bit, and Aaron goes with it. Just past a diving Lopez at first base. Ichiro over quickly, but no chance to throw Aaron Hill out at second base.
Adam Lind now the designated hitter with 30 home runs, 106 RBIs. Takes a strike from Hernandez. As good as Hernandez has been all year long, we must remember the Blue Jays had his number when they met in Seattle on the 27th of July. Hernandez lasted 5 2/3 and gave up 7 runs on 11 hits. Home runs in that game from Overbay and Barajas. As Lynn goes after the breaker, and he strikes out. They figured him out in July, Rance. They'll do well to figure him out twice.
Easier said than done, but if you can stay off the changeup and the breaking ball in particular that's out of the strike zone and force him to have to get you out with his fastball, it makes the task a little bit easier. But well, when you're behind in the count, it is tough to stay off the curveball changeup because he throws so hard.
Number 4 hitter Vernon Wells is ready now for Hernandez. Strike one. Really none of the Blue Jays, save for Hill in the starting 9, have good numbers against Hernandez. Wells is no different, batting just .231 against him, 3 for 13 career. There's Hill. He's at second, 2 out, and Wells will face an 0-1. Rob Johnson flashes the signs. Here's the pitch, and it's a fastball fouled away.
And when you get a fastball, especially somewhat of a mistake from Hernandez, you need to put it in play hard, because if you foul it off, now you've really put yourself in a tough situation. 0-2.
In the dirt. The ball dribbles away from the catcher. Hill is stuck at second, though. And you talked about that outing against the Yankees on Friday, giving up an earned run in a complete game. That's the 17th time this year Hernandez has gone at least 7 innings and allowed 1 earned run or fewer. I mean, that's amazing. as he gets the strikeout and strikes out the side. Sandwiched in between a double to Hill, but 3 strikeouts already. He's 1 away from 200. Canada's fastest mobile network, 3 times faster than any other. When Cito Gaston took over last year, the rest of the 2008 season, he was able to help the Jays along with a 51-37 record. Things have evened out now. They're 120 and 120 under him. If you combine the wins losses from this year to the half season he managed last year. So right at 500 as Ricky Romero twirls for him tonight and faces the veteran Mike Sweeney. Sweeney wrapped up a lengthy career with the Royals 2 years ago. Spent last season in Oakland. And this year he's a Mariner for the first time. Romero with the 0-1 pitch. He gets him to swing and it's 0-2. Nice to see Ricky get out of the first inning cleanly. He got roughed up for 4 runs in Tampa Bay on the weekend in that first inning. And that hits Sweeney in the foot, and he does the dance down to first base.
And it's a situation such as this that a young pitcher like Ricky Romero can potentially pitch himself into trouble. Sweeney count 0-2. Obviously at that point he just wants to bury this breaking ball, make sure that he doesn't leave it up, and hit Sweeney on the foot.
He's still feeling it. Just look at his face. I assume he'll have a little bit of trouble going first to third, as Adrian Beltre is the batter now. They have not seen much of Beltre this year. He's been dealing with injuries. Most of the season's been spent on the DL. He had bone spurs in his left shoulder. Romero has a man on, nobody out, second inning, and a swing from Beltre.
And so far tonight, overall, Ricky Romero has had pretty good command of his changeup and has been able to use it effectively. The last pitch to Beltre was a very, very good one. He only gets in trouble with it when he tries to make it a little too fine, doesn't trust the movement to get the hitter out.
Beltre is a free agent at season's end, and the last time he became a free agent, he signed a massive contract with the Mariners after a spectacular year with LA. Hit over 300, 48 home runs that year with the Dodgers. That was 2004. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and he strokes it foul. So Romero starts here tonight. He'll go again in Boston and then is scheduled to pitch the last game of the regular season on October the 4th in Baltimore. That misses, and just barely. The crowd here is not amused. It's 3-2.
Tried to go inside with a fastball and just missed. See Chavez trying to frame it.
Here's the payoff pitch. Grounded up the middle and a base hit Beltre. Sweeney limps into second. And it's first and second for the Mariners.
Well, early on, Ricky Romero had control of the situation in that at bat with Beltre, had him down in the count, but comes all the way back 3-2, leaves the pitch up a little bit, and Beltre singles into center field.
Bill Hall steps in now, cast away by the Brewers earlier this year. He hit only .201 with Milwaukee. And he quickly fell out of favor among the fan base. So the change of scenery was probably very good to Hall, who's been playing regularly since coming over to the Mariners. Although his numbers since coming from Milwaukee aren't exactly flattering, a .212 average with a couple of home runs. First and second, no one out here in the second inning. And Romero, the pitch, it's a strike, 1-2. Now these kind of situations arose last night with Scott Richmond on the mound, getting ahead of hitters 0-2, 1-2, and then falling behind. Richmond was able to go 5 against Baltimore and get the victory. Let's see here if Romero can finish off Hall. As the pitch is on the way, it's low, so it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rance, do you think sometimes young pitchers are just afraid to challenge a batter when they've got him 2 strikes?
No, I think they try to be a little too fine, and we've seen that on a fairly consistent basis with the young arms on this Jays staff, and oftentimes they'll get ahead in the count, get to that 1-2, 2-2 count, but can't finish the hitter off because they're trying to be too fine and make the perfect pitch, and then they pitch themselves back into some trouble. You see veteran pitchers on a much more consistent basis. If they get ahead in the count, they're going to finish the hitter off.
Well, Hall fights off a good pitch. It's still 2 balls and 2 strikes here. Matt Tuiasosopo is on deck for the Mariners. They are trying to put themselves on the board first here in a scoreless ball game as Romero kicks and fires, and it's chopped over to third in fair territory. Encarnacion brings the ball down, but Hall is on with a single, and the bases are loaded, nobody out.
Encarnacion did not get a good read on the ball. You see right here he jumps too early, and all he really needed to do was just take a step back, stay on his feet, and just settle for one out. It looked as if he were in a little bit of a hurry trying to catch the ball and get to that force out at third.
So Romero now faces Tuias Susopu, who is the second baseman, originally drafted as a third baseman, and he came up late last year from AAA Tacoma. Is a September call up again this season. Bases loaded, and now 2-0.
Most certainly the play at third should have been made, but what started all of this is 0-2 to Sweeney, and then hits him with a pitch, and then allows Beltre to come all the way back from 0-2 to 3-2 and single to center, and now he's in trouble.
Gets a strike, and it's 2-1. Tuias Susopu actually made the opening day roster, but did not appear in a game before he was optioned down to Tacoma in the middle of April. And there's a strike, so Romero comes back after it's 2-0, evens the count at 2-2. Bases loaded for the rookie, and light hitting Josh Wilson, the shortstop, is on deck. Sweeney at third, Beltre at second, Bill Hall at first. A golden opportunity here for the Mariners. Here's the pitch, and it's fouled away. Swung on, belted deep center field. Wells goes way back there, and even a limping Mike Sweeney can come in and cash from there. So he limps home with the first run of the game. Seattle is up 1-0. And Tuias Susopu has an RBI. One away, Josh Wilson, the shortstop, is the batter. Not to be confused with Jack Wilson, who was brought in around mid-season from the Pittsburgh Pirates, a real veteran glove. He's got a bad heel and is available, but likely won't play. For Josh Wilson, Seattle is his third major league team this year. He's got some time with San Diego and Arizona over the course of this season. He looks out and sees two men on base. Grounded to third. Encarnacion with a long throw to second, a bullet over to first, and they get a double play. So after all that, Romero can trot off with a bit of a victory, knowing that the Mariners scored only once.
A nice feed by the third baseman to Aaron Hill with a lot on this throw, and then again Aaron Hill's arm strength allows him to complete the double play.
3 home runs in tonight's game. A contestant wins a 52-inch Sharp Aquos LCD TV with ultra brilliant full array LED backlight and Blu-ray disc player. Aquos LED, the evolution of LCD TV, continues. To enter and find out more, please visit the website hit a home run with sharp.ca. And that's something Edwin Encarnacion's been doing lately in his last 12 games. In fact, he's got 5 home runs. Really starting to round into form now as the season comes to a close, but up against a very tough customer in Felix Hernandez tonight. Hernandez, with that spin on the mound, has a little bit of Louis Tiant in him.
Just a tad. But you can just tell by his demeanor on the mound that he is pitching with a lot of confidence. And even as hard as he can throw, he can reach back with his four-seamer and touch 95, 96. But he's not trying to overmatch the hitters. He's just trying to make quality pitches and rely on movement. He's basically pitched tonight with his fastball between 90 and 93.
Bounce to third. In comes Beltre. Out goes Encarnacion. And there's one away.
And that is a sign that he has figured out how to pitch. Don't try to overmatch everyone. Just change speeds, trust your movement, and pitch.
If you consider the rotation that this team started with last year, Hernandez, Eric Bedard, veteran Jared Washburn, who some time ago was traded to Detroit, it has to be considered a major disappointment in Seattle that last season they finished 61 and 101. This year has been a dramatic improvement. Don Wakamatsu is their first-year manager, and though they will not make the postseason, they have to be happy with the fact it is a lot better these days in Seattle than it was a year ago. In fact, they've improved by 18 victories as Hernandez deals with Lyle Overbay.
Last year, I picked the Seattle Mariners to really contend against the Angels in the American League West, and it just fell apart, as you mentioned, Jamie. Early in the season, things started going downhill, and
they had
never stopped.
They had a lot of clubhouse problems last year. As there is strike 3, and that is strikeout number 200 this year for Felix Hernandez. I guess it's appropriate that he gets a Seattle area guy in Lyle Overbay, but Hernandez is now the 5th Mariner pitcher in franchise history with at least 200 strikeouts in a single season. This one grounded up the middle and taken by the second baseman. Snyder is out by a step, and Hernandez enjoys a 1-2-3 second inning. Seattle on top by 1 here in Toronto. Trust Comfort Zone and join the big comfy chairs tonight. Representatives of Power to Be, courtesy of TD Canada Trust. We welcome you to the Rogers Center here in Toronto. It's Seattle 1. The Blue Jays no score. I'm Jamie Campbell with Rance Mulliniks and Sam Cosentino. And the Mariners bring up their number 9 hitter and catcher Rob Johnson. Ricky Romero really worked his way out of trouble in that second inning after he hit Mike Sweeney on an 0-2 pitch. Gave up a single to Beltre and a single to Hall. Bases loaded, none out. 1 run cashed on a sacrifice fly. He got a ground ball double play out of Josh Wilson and escaped, giving up just the 1 run. Prior to the game, J.P. Ricciardi met with the press to discuss the possibilities rotation-wise for next year as Romero walks the 9 hitter. Not a good way to start the third. And there seems to be good news all around when it comes to those who have missed the year with injuries. Jesse Litch is going to start throwing a baseball October 2nd. And should be back around the middle of the year. Sean Markham is on track for perhaps opening day. There's Litch. He wanted to spend some time with the team, and he's hanging around now in uniform. And Dustin McGowan is improving dramatically. There were some thoughts middle of the year that perhaps McGowan might have been dealing with some kind of a career-ending injury. But he is improving in leaps and bounds. And there were whispers in the assembled scrum about McGowan possibly being considered for a relief role, perhaps even a closer. Now, let's be honest, friends, he's got great stuff as we look at Ichiro.
But based upon his history with injury, you would have to question, can he pitch 2 or 3 days in a row out of the bullpen? Because of his history, you wouldn't think that he has the type of arm that can recover quickly and go back to back to back days.
You know, Jamie, Rance, JP also mentioned that he feels pretty comfortable with the lefty-righty combination of Fraser and Downs. Downs, of course, signed through next year. Fraser, I believe, arbitration eligible, and so it's a situation where the Blue Jays may end up using that dual combination. Just let the situation present itself depending on left-handed, right-handed hitters and go from there with those 2 guys. Both of them have had pretty good success in that role this year.
I'd say they'd feel comfortable doing that to start 2010. Ichiro fans have good seats here tonight. Already got a base hit and slaps the 1-2 down the line. The ball drifting away from Snyder. He dives but comes up a little short. He'll receive a nice round of applause anyway.
I do have to say a little short.
Okay, a lot short.
That's a lot short.
From time to time, Scott Carson scribbles me notes, and he just wrote, he had no shot. Which is true, but it looked good, Brent.
I would say that was a very accurate assessment.
What's Billy Crystal's online? It's better to look good than to feel good. Just trying to make a nice impression. And besides, he's from the Seattle area. This game's being flashed back to his hometown. One ball, 2 strikes. Chavez sets up outside, and that's ripped foul.
I'm all for playing hard, and he most certainly plays hard and gives his best, his all the time. But there's no reason to run into the outfield fence when the ball's in the second deck. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
The 1-2 pitch, and yet again Ichiro gets a piece. Perhaps he's just looking for face time. I love Pat Tabler's story about getting a late chance to pinch hit in the All-Star game. I guess it was 1987 in Oakland, and he intentionally took the first 2 pitches just so he could get some TV time back in his hometown of Cincinnati. You know, he didn't want to swing at anything good off the first pitch. He might end up popping out or flying out, and nobody would know he was there. There's Tabby getting ready for tomorrow night's broadcast. And look at that. Ricky Romero strikes out Ichiro. Down he goes.
Well, Romero just continued to stay with the curveball to Ichiro, and not often that you make him look bad, but a number of times in this at bat he had him fooled with the curveball, but he was able to fight it off. But that last one was just in a great spot with a lot of hard late movement.
And Franklin Gutierrez comes back,
and it makes you wonder, after he strikes out Ichiro, how in the world he walked the leadoff hitter Rob Johnson on 4 straight pitches.
Yes.
Who's hitting .216.
Yeah. It's a funny game. There's a strike. Well, and remember, we did that game in Seattle in late July, and Ichiro came up with a walk-off hit against Scott Downs on a pitch very similar to that. A breaking ball, low and away. And what did you say after the game? Only Ichiro gets a piece of that ball. Gutierrez with the 0-1, and the dirt 1-1. The man at the plate is enjoying his best season offensively with 16 home runs, 62 RBIs. Defensively, he has the most putouts by any major league outfielder with 419. So he's been busy out there in the field. The pitch is drilled left center field. Well smoked, in fact, and you can kiss it goodbye. It becomes a souvenir in a hurry, and Gutierrez puts 2 more on the board for the Mariners. It is now 3-0. That career year continues, and that is home run number 17.
Jumps all over a fastball, and there was no doubt from the moment the ball left the bat. You can see Vernon Wells took a couple of steps and just pulled up very quickly. That ball well into the seats in left center.
And Rance, so far the little things are really hurting Romero. You touched on the 0-2 situation in the second against Mike Sweeney. He hit him in the toe, and Sweeney eventually came around. Now on 4 pitches, he walks the number 9 hitter who's on base when Gutierrez goes deep. And just like that, it's 3-0. And Ken Griffey Jr. is now in the on-deck circle. I guess Sweeney was hurt enough that he can't go any further. Lopez grounds to short. He's thrown out. And we get to see 2 legends tonight. First Ichiro, now Ken Griffey Jr. Here's his reception. His return to Seattle just before the start of the year was the feel-good story of the spring in baseball. And there's that sweet swing, popping one up. and well away from Encarnacion.
I can remember when he first came to the big leagues and playing against him. And that swing was the same then as it is now. Not quite. Back then it was quicker. And forgotten, everybody talks about what he's accomplished from the standpoint of offense, but at one time was maybe the best defensive center fielder in baseball.
Romero has him 0-2 and now has a strikeout. And that ends the top of the third. Romero, though he's down 3-0, can say he struck out Ichiro and Griffey Jr. within about 5 minutes. Of a new BlackBerry Boulder Curve 8900 smartphone from Rogers at any Wireless Wave T-Booth retail location throughout Canada. So it's 3-0 for the Mariners, and up steps Raul Chavez. There goes his bat. In fact, there goes Chavez. He grounds out to third. This season begins to wind down, and the Mariners are having a decent year. 79 victories, 73 losses. There's an outside chance they could end up catching the Texas Rangers for second place in their division. The division-leading Angels will surely represent the American League West in the playoffs this year. We're really starting to see the same teams, at least in the American League, return to the postseason year after year, as McDonald grounds that to short. He's quickly thrown out. The Angels always seem to represent the West. New York is back in officially after missing last year. Boston should be there. They're the wild card leaders. It's kind of refreshing last year to see the Tampa Bay Rays win the American League pennant. But 2 days ago, they were officially eliminated from any possibility. For the Jays, well, it's well known they have not been in the postseason since Joe Carter touched them all in '93. Hopefully that changes soon. Rounded down the line and foul by Jose Bautista. Look at the smile on that young man. He's got himself a game ball. Oh, and he said thank you. He's a well-mannered young man. Breaking ball and a dandy 1-2 on Bautista. There he goes. Another strikeout for Felix Hernandez. His 5th of the game, ends the 3rd. 3-0 Seattle. Makes his final start at home this year. And now the question is it his final start at home as a Blue Jay? Because the offseason looms and his name will be considered by other teams as possible trade acquisition. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds for Roy Halladay? Will he be in the rotation to start the year next year, or will he find his way to another club? That's for management to decide, and we'll certainly keep an eye on that through the off season. But either way, if you're in the Toronto area, you might want to think about coming down and seeing Halladay pitch against the Mariners tomorrow night. We'll have the game for you on Sportsnet as well at 7 Eastern Time. Here's Adrian Beltre taking a strike from Ricky Romero. 3-0 for Seattle. They picked up 1 run in the 2nd on a sacrifice fly that scored Mike Sweeney. He has since left the ball game. Franklin Gutierrez hit a 2-run shot last inning. Meanwhile, the Blue Jay bats have been victimized by King Felix. He's given up just 1 hit. That was a double by Aaron Hill in the 1st. So Romero against Felix, he's got his work cut out for him tonight. And on 2-1, he kicks and fires. That's way high, and Beltre has a 3-1 count. He takes off the shin guard, takes the free pass, and just like the last inning, Ricky Romero, and you can tell by the look on his face, he is totally unimpressed. Walks the leadoff man. I've heard several major leaguers say sometimes the body language of a pitcher can tell you all you need to know.
And you sense right now that Ricky Romero, as much as anything else, is fighting himself. He almost gives you the appearance that he's a little bit down on himself right now. Well, success came quickly
and seemed to come rather easily to Romero this year in what really was a surprise inclusion in the starting rotation. Snap throw to first, and not in time to get Beltre.
Now, we've seen Chavez with this move before, and he is very quick with his release and gets a lot on the throw. As a matter of fact, if Overbay is just a step deeper, might have been able to apply the tag to Beltre before he could get back to the bag.
Here's the 1-0 pitch and a healthy cut. The wind has really picked up here at the Rogers Center. I noticed, Brantz, your game notes are now sitting about 5 rows above the Mariners dugout.
What are you going to do?
Where the banners above the scoreboard in center field. Down in the dirt is the pitch. 3-1. There's no question Romero seems to be fighting himself now. Bill Hall is the batter. He singled in the second inning to load up the bases. A little bouncer that got away from Encarnacion. A favorable count here. The pitch is on the way and it's rolled foul. Romero won his major league debut against the Tigers on April 9th. In his next start in Minneapolis, went 8 innings, gave up just 2 runs in a no decision. Won again in his next start against Oakland. And people started to take notice of this young lefty from LA as Encarnacion goes over to second, back to first. The tag applied on Hall, and they get another double play. Boy, he's had some help of field. That's the 3rd double play turn by the Blue Jays tonight.
But this is what can happen for you when you throw strikes and make quality pitches. Give your defense a chance to help you out. Aaron Hill with somewhat of a wide throw, but it didn't appear as if Bill Hall was running hard to first base.
With 2 out, here is Matt Tuiasosopo.
It was almost if he had conceded the double play, and that's why you always run hard all the way through the bag. You never know.
If you're a fan of the National Football League, you might recognize that last name. His brother Marcus plays for the Oakland Raiders. His dad Manu, in fact, was a football player at UCLA and later played for the Seahawks. So football seems to run in the family. Matt made his big league debut in September of last year. His first hit was a double off of Andy Pettit of the New York Yankees. He scorches that one up the middle and has a base hit.
Noticed when he went back to the dugout after his first at bat, when he hit the sacrifice fly, they were congratulating him, and he was pleased that he had driven the run in and did his job. But he also gave you the impression he was talking to his manager. You almost sensed he's saying, I've got to be a little bit better in that situation. I want to do more in that situation than a sac fly. And that's the type of attitude you'd like to see out of your young players.
Back comes Josh Wilson, and the pitch is low, 1-0. A chopper to third. Encarnacion goes to first. And that gets the job done here in the 4th inning. Still 3-0 Seattle. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. This HD broadcast is presented by Sharp Aquos LED. The evolution of LCD TV continues. And we continue with the broadcast of the Mariners and Blue Jays from the Rogers Center tonight here in beautiful Toronto. Jamie Campbell with Rance Mulliniks, Sam Cosentino, and our esteemed statistician Scott Carson. Watching Aaron Hill, who has the only hit of the game against Felix Hernandez. That's a double from the first inning. Since then, Hernandez has retired 8 straight. Only 5 men in the history of the American League have had 30 home run, 100 RBI seasons playing second base, and Aaron Hill is now one of them. Alfonso Soriano did it twice, once with the Yankees, once with Texas. Brett Boone did it 2 times with these Mariners. Bobby Grich in '79 with the California Angels. As he draws a walk, Grich that year hit 30 home runs on the nose and had 101 RBIs. And Joe Gordon, who was recently and posthumously inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Once with the Yankees in 1940 and once again with the Cleveland Indians in '48. So Hill is in select company. And he's a rare base runner in this game for the Blue Jays. In fact, he's been their only base runner. Ball 1 to Adam Lind. And now Rob Johnson needs a word. And check those numbers: a .300 average, 30 home runs, 106 driven in.
Guys, you watch Rob Johnson head out to the mound. He and Kenji Jojo have almost an exact split in games caught. But early on in the season, Johnson established a good chemistry with Felix Hernandez. Don Wakamatsu says, hey, why split up the duo with the numbers Hernandez has put up this year?
They like Johnson. He may be their long-term catcher. I believe Jojima's contract is up at the end of this year. And their top catching prospect for some time was a kid named Jeff Clement, and he was traded to the Pittsburgh Pirates in the deal that acquired Jack Wilson. The 1-1. Low and away, and Lind swings 1-2. Lind is one of Hernandez's strikeout victims tonight. He has struck out 5. Shot to second. And the relay back to first. They get the double play. In fact, they don't. They don't. Josh Wilson, it seems, was pulled off the bag on the relay, so Hill is now safe. And Don Wakamatsu wants to come out and question this with Brian Runge. Let's take a look at the replay.
It's a poor feed from Tuiasa Sopo, and Wilson tried to make the adjustment and sell it, but clearly you can tell by the replay that he never touched second base. This is just a poor feed from the second baseman, and give the second base umpire Brian Runge a lot of credit for staying with that.
I guess that one doesn't fall into that gray area of in the area.
Probably, Brian Runge, from the moment he saw the poor feed, stayed with that play and made sure that Wilson still had some contact. As it turns out, he didn't, and it's a nice call. Been easy to get lazy with that one.
The batter is Vernon Wells. 2 strikes on him. Here's the pitch, a breaking ball, and there he goes, just wasted by Hernandez. So Felix has racked up now 6 strikeouts.
And he is having himself a game.
It's an outstanding curveball. Everything he throws is nasty and with movement. For the most part tonight, he has basically relied on his two-seam fastball, and he's pitched at 90 to 93 with his two-seamer, and he's just tried to keep it down in the strike zone and let the movement work for him. It's been very effective.
And so far, a performance tonight quite different from the one we saw in July when the Blue Jays were able to light him up for 7 runs on 11 hits. He's been virtually untouchable this night. Just a hit and a walk so far. The 0-1 pitch, now 0-2 on Encarnacion. It all seems so free and easy for Hernandez. Chomps on the bubble gum, gets his sign, nods approval, and goes to work. Here's the kick and the 0-2, and Encarnacion did well to hold up.
Well, you mentioned earlier, Jamie, that little back turn to the hitter that reminds you a little bit of Luis Tiant. That has enabled him to slow everything down just a little bit, and it's really improved consistency with release point and improved his control.
Encarnacion has a hit in his last 6 straight. Having a good week, in fact, at the plate. On 3-2, he waves and misses, and he's not having a good time tonight against Felix Hernandez. 0 for 2, in fact, is Encarnacion. 3-0 for the visitors. .590 and the Toronto Star. Jose Cruz Jr. will be around. He'll be meeting with fans beginning at 5:45 near section 117 here at Rogers Center, and chatting online at BlueJays.com at 3:30 Eastern Time. For more information, check that website. And Flashback Friday tomorrow night presents Roy Halladay against Doug Fister in game 2. Right now it's a 3-0 lead Seattle. And Rob Johnson pounds it into the corner. He leads off the 5th inning with a double. Leadoff hitters have been a problem tonight for Ricky Romero. In fact, every one of them has reached base.
Rob Johnson wasting no time, jumps all over a fastball. Drives it down into the corner. Now let's see how Ichiro plays this situation. Looked like he almost turned his ankle a little bit, rounding first base. Will he try to pull the ball to the right side or have his usual approach back up the middle into left field?
Popped it up, in fact. An easy play for Hill. And Ichiro is retired.
Well, clearly Ichiro wasn't thinking about pulling the ball to the right side because that ball got in on his hands.
11 home runs for Ichiro, and I've often heard it said that if he put his mind to it, he could hit 20, 25. Do you believe that?
Yes. If you watch him take batting practice, it's not anything like what you see in the game. Not even close. I mean, today he was hitting balls well into the second deck in right field. You could probably put him in a home run hitting contest in an all-star game, and he'd hold his own. I don't know if he could win it because a lot of things factor into winning such an event, but people would be shocked as to how far he can hit a baseball.
Here's Gutierrez. So the obvious question, Rance, is why not hit more in game? Why do we not see him hit more in game?
Because it's not his style. It is not his game. If he were to try to hit the ball out of the ballpark, he would sacrifice, number one, a lot of batting average probably. Of course, even doing that, he'd probably still hit 300. But his game is, put the ball in play, use his great speed.
Gutierrez tagged his 17th home run of the season in the 3rd. Gave Seattle the 3-0 lead they hold currently. Chavez pounds his glove, awaits the 1-2. Here it comes. Leadoff hitters, as mentioned, have been a real problem for Romero tonight. Ichiro led off the first with a single. Mike Sweeney, who's no longer in the game, was hit in the toe to lead off the second. Rob Johnson walked to lead off the third. Beltre walked to lead off the fourth, and Rob Johnson up at second doubled to lead off this inning. 2-2. Gutierrez taps it foul. Time called. Romero steps off. And now Chavez needs some time. Now, Romero is behind here 3-0 in the 5th inning. As mentioned, he has 3 starts, including tonight, remaining. He needs 2 more victories to tie the Blue Jay record for most wins by a rookie in a single season, and that was actually established by relief pitcher Mark Eichhorn in '86. He had 14 wins that year. There goes Gutierrez. He swings and misses, strike 3. So Romero has 4 strikeouts mixed in tonight. And Gustavo Chacin with 13 wins in '05, right behind Eichhorn. And you see Romero who has as many as Jeff Musselman had in '87. So conceivably, he could even pass Sycorn, although he'll need a little help tonight because the man opposite him, Felix Hernandez, is pitching a whale of a game. There's a wave from the next hitter, Jose Lopez.
Mark Eichhorn in 1986 in that season, I remember he had a changeup that year that was virtually unhittable.
So you're glad you didn't have to face it.
He was nasty.
Little tapper taken by Chavez. He calmly picks up the ball and throws out Lopez and gets Romero out of the 5th inning. Still 3-0 Seattle, though.
Wants to put you in the comfort zone. Log on to BlueJays.com for your chance to win an all-expense-paid trip to see the Jays in comfort. TD Canada Trust, putting you in the comfort zone.
Welcome back, everybody. We've got Blue Jays baseball for you tonight here on Rogers Sportsnet. In the opener of a 4-game series, the Mariners have a 3-0 lead, in great part due to the pitching of Felix Hernandez, number 34 on the mound. Has allowed just one base hit. That was an Aaron Hill double in this first inning of play. So let's see if Overbay can solve King Felix. He struck out in the 2nd inning. Quickly 2-0 on the batter, who grew up as a Mariner fan. Overbay is from Centralia, Washington, about an hour or so south of Seattle. Really patterned his swing as a young man after John Olerud. In fact, there were loads of reports in the middle of last season that Overbay was on his way to the Mariners in a deal that would involve Raul Ibanez coming back to Toronto. Of course, that deal was never consummated, and now Overbay is taking a walk to first. Let's bring in Sam Cosentino once again.
Well, guys, Cito Gaston without his best 2 options against Hernandez. Hits obviously tough to come by. Marco Scutaro on the bench, 6 for 18 lifetime against Hernandez. Joe Inglet, 5 for 9. And with Roy Halladay pitching tomorrow, Rod Barajas will be behind the plate, getting a little rest tonight. But he's 3 for 14 off Hernandez, but 2 of those are home runs. So 3 very good options out of the lineup for Cito Gaston, 2 due to injury.
Well, Not much you can do about that as Snyder grounds to short. And the Mariners are unable to complete the double play. The ball gets away from Lopez at first.
And the Mariners having a little bit of trouble with the double play. This is pretty routine. Good feed here, but you could see Tuiasosopo got his footwork messed up. And the result was he, first of all, had trouble unloading the ball, and then second, made a wild throw wide of first base. That's a double play that at the major league level you have to turn.
Chavez is the batter, and he grounded out to third base his first time up. Inside for ball one. Hernandez's ERA is getting better and better as the innings progress, and he is on pace to set a single season road ERA record. As that one is rolled to third, picked up by Beltre. No play at second. He goes to first and gets Chavez 2 out.
That looked like a replay of his first at bat.
He'll be calling Louisville. But coming into tonight, Hernandez's ERA on the road was a sparkling 1.90. You okay over there?
I'm fine. I just had a thought when you said he'd be calling Louisville.
Oh, you want to share it with us? Or
I said order a batter a dozen handles. My goodness.
Here's John McDonald, who tonight celebrates his 35th birthday. Our best to you, John.
Not to make fun of Chavez, with the stuff that Hernandez has, he's most certainly capable of sawing anyone off.
No question. Little chopper over toward third. This is a tough play for Beltre. In fact, he won't even try it. And McDonald has the Blue Jays' second hit.
Just a slow chopper to third base, kind of a swinging bunt. But McDonald gets out of the box very well and runs pretty good. And it was a wise decision by Beltre to not even risk the throw.
So a chance here for Jose Bautista with 2 outs in the ball game. He is 0 for 2. And a curveball runs the count 0-1.
And the first pitch to Bautista is where Hernandez has showed a lot of maturity as a pitcher. Normally in a situation like this, a young guy with a great arm would just try to overmatch the hitter, blow him away with a fastball. And he starts Bautista with a good overhand curveball for strike one.
Hernandez's numbers were so spectacular in the World Baseball Classic. He pitched for Venezuela, started 2 games, and over 8 2/3 innings did not allow an earned run. 2-0 with an ERA of 0 as the tapper goes foul. We've seen a number of players like Jeremy Guthrie, who started last night for the Orioles, who had a rough WBC, and that in turn turned into a rough start to the season. But clearly the extra work in the World Baseball Classic for Hernandez has not hampered his year. The 2-2. A shot to third. Beltre plays it beautifully and throws out Bautista. So we finished 5 here tonight at the Rogers Center. It's the Mariners 3, the Blue Jays no score.
The Jays on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Yet another beautiful night for baseball here at the Rogers Center in Toronto. Only 4 more games remain here, including tonight's affair led by the Mariners 3-0. Through 5, Felix Hernandez is clearly out-pitching Ricky Romero. Although Romero can always say he struck out Ken Griffey Jr., he went down swinging as a replacement for Mike Sweeney in the 3rd inning. Here's Griffey again. Only 4 men in Major League history have more home runs than Griffey Jr. Three of them are in the Hall of Fame, and one is anybody's guess. But the way things are going, likely not. Meaning, you likely won't see Barry Bonds get in. It's certainly a subject of great debate. But Griffey Jr.'s going in. I doubt they'll make him wait for it, too. He should be first ballot. Down he goes, and this is very likely the last week of Major League Baseball for Griffey. Do you see him coming back next year? I mean, he hit 15 home runs this year.
He was asked about it. I recently read an article in USA Today, and he did not indicate either or. Was he going to come back, not come back? You know, experience would kind of lead you to believe that if the Mariners would like for him to return for one more season, just for what he brings to the ball club with his attitude and outlook towards the game every day, he would probably return.
It was fun watching Griffey take batting practice today. First and foremost, he continues to wear his hat backwards, the style he kind of patented when he was the best player in the game so many years ago. As that one is lined to third base, Encarnacion makes the stab, and Beltre is gone. And second, Griffey had a collection around him of young Blue Jay players who were listening to everything he had to say. It was like a scene out of a park where a man is sitting on a park bench feeding breadcrumbs to pigeons. It was Jesse Carlson and Kyle Phillips. Mostly pitchers, in fact. And they were hanging on every one of Griffey's words. It was fun to see. There's Bill Hall now. Grounded and through on the left side. He's got a base hit. In fact, he's 2 for 3. Now, his arrival in Seattle has spelled reduced playing time for one of Seattle's top prospects, who just happens to be from Victoria, British Columbia. Michael Saunders got called up in the middle part of July. He's got a bright future with Seattle. In fact, he was in the lineup last night in Tampa Bay and had 3 hits. They really like what he can do, but right now he's not playing a whole lot, in part because Hall is on board now. There's ball 1. Matt Tuiasosopo is 1 for 1 on the night. The Mariners with 7 hits, 3 runs scored on 7 hits. The Blue Jays, without a run, they have just 2 hits. Tuiasu Sopo was selected in the 3rd round back in '04. Two balls and 1 strike, and because his dad played in the NFL with the Seattle Seahawks, he's from the area, so the name is very familiar to many Mariner fans. 100 pitches now thrown by Romero, with 2 out in the 6th inning. He kicks and fires, and it's drilled to center field right at Vernon Wells. He makes the grab, and that's the top of the inning. Hill, Lind, and Wells coming up for the Jays in the last of the 6th inning. Blue Jays hit a 6th inning home run. One lucky contestant wins a 40-inch Sharp Aquos LCD TV with LED backlight. The innovators of LCD TV now bring you their best picture yet. Aquos LED, the evolution of LCD TV continues. To enter and find out more, we invite you to visit the website hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. In fact, a television was awarded last night when Travis Snyder went deep in the 6th inning of Toronto's 7-3 win over the Orioles. They swept away Baltimore, ensuring their first sweep at home since that 4-gamer against the White Sox in May. How times have changed. The Jays were leading the American League East when that sweep was completed in May. Here in the 6th, Aaron Hill, Adam Lind, and Vernon Wells. And a shot to Beltre at 3rd, squirts under his legs, rolls out into left field. And Hill is safely in at 2nd base. And he is credited with a double. And rightly so. That was a bullet.
Ball was hit very hard. Beltre just tries to go to his knees and smother it, and is unable to do so. And Aaron Hill has his 2nd double this evening.
Adam Lind is the batter. That's ball 1. Lind grounded out when he came up in the 4th inning. He actually hit a double play ball, but the Mariners couldn't turn one. In fact, 2nd baseman Josh Wilson was pulled off the bag on the relay. And so Lind was simply thrown out as Hill was ruled safe at 2nd base. However, the Blue Jays couldn't bring Hill around. To this point, Seattle shutting out Toronto 3-0. 1 ball and 1 strike. And it's laced high and deep to left field. Hauled into the corner, and that is foul. I don't know what the breakdown is statistically, Rance, but I would guess about 1/3 of Adam Lynn's home runs this year have been hit to left field.
And one of the reasons he's such an outstanding hitter is because he uses the entire field. The previous pitch prior to the last one, he was a fastball right on the outside corner. You almost sense he was looking out there, try to go the other way. The ball got just a little bit deep, and he hit it foul.
Ripped and a base hit to right field. Hill is stopped at third as the throw comes in quickly from Ichiro. So Lynn has his first hit of the night and Toronto's fourth of the evening.
This is what a good hitter can do. The pitch before, a little deep, it was foul down the left field line, and then he just dials it up just a notch and squares up the fastball.
And sorry, go ahead, Rance.
Go ahead.
An opportunity presents itself here to Vernon Wells. Nobody out, bottom of 6. There's Hill over at third, Lynn now at first. With the Blue Jays trailing Felix Hernandez 3-0. And this one yanked down the line, well hit, and you can kiss it goodbye. We've got ourselves a tie game on one swing.
Didn't have time to get it out there, but Vernon Wells, much like Aaron Hill, is a good high ball hitter, and he's chased some balls down tonight, but this one is up in his eyes. Looked like a slider that flattens out and stays up, and Vernon Wells drives it out of here in a hurry.
Home run number 15 on the year for Wells. RBIs number 63, 64, and 65. And Encarnacion, the batter, now 1-1. There's a strike, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And here's the kick and the pitch. A busted bat. Encarnacion is sawed off, and he'll take the handle back to the dugout. Well, thanks to the Wells home run, Sharp has awarded one lucky contestant a 40-inch Sharp Aquos LCD TV with LED backlight. Aquos LED, the evolution of LCD TV continues. To see if you're the winner, please visit the website hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. And Wells' shot is the 4th, 6th inning home run on this homestand. So our good friends at Sharp have given away a bunch of televisions so far. Two strikes on Lyle Overbay. There is another strikeout for Felix Hernandez. That's 8 tonight. And he's owned Overbay twice.
This has been his best pitch really all night, is the good hard two-seam sinking fastball. And you can see the bottom fall right out of that last pitch to Overbay.
Here's Snyder, and the pitch is belted foul. Let us wish a happy 78th birthday tonight to Nelson Hunter. Nelson is watching from Astol, New Brunswick. That's on Highway 8, about 20 minutes north of Fredericton. Watching as Snyder gears up for the 0-1. Breaking ball outside as well. Happy 100th this evening to Edward Sheridan. Our congratulations to you, Edward. He's tuned in from London, Ontario. Snyder tonight 0 for 2. He had a 6th inning home run last night going to the opposite field on Baltimore starter Jeremy Guthrie. The 2-1 pitch, a ground ball to second. And Snyder is out. That ends the 6th inning, but Vernon Wells goes deep, a 3-run shot, and that ties this ball game. After 6, we're knotted at 3, and you're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet. Fastback brought to you by Canada's fastest mobile network, 3 times faster than any other. On this night in 1988, Dave Steeves' no-hit bid was broken up by Julio Franco with 2 out in the 9th inning in Cleveland. And I know, Rance, you were there. You were the designated hitter. In fact, the Blue Jays pulled off a 1-0 victory in that game on a sacrifice fly by Rob Ducey, after I believe Fred McGriff was bunted to second by you in the 9th inning of play. Dave Steeves, how many no-hitters, as this one almost takes off Romero's head. I mean, you would have been witness to a number of Steeves one-hitters, let alone that no-hitter he finally got in Cleveland in 1990.
And that night was the biggest fluke I have ever seen. Julio Franco hit what it would have been a routine ground ball literally right at Manny Lee, and where the cut of the infield grass met the dirt, it's kind of built up there a little bit. It hit that, took a hop about 15 feet into the air right over Manny Lee's head for a base hit.
Yeah.
With 2 out. I believe there was 2 out in the 9th.
Yes, there was.
And as soon as he hit the ball, we thought that's it. And then it took that terrible hop.
Steve that night walked only 2. Ran his record to 15-8, but that's of little consolation when you, I guess, when you miss out on a no-hitter in that way. And that's why the look on his face when he finally got it done 2 years later in that same stadium was one of complete and utter relief, because it would have been an absolute shame if Steve went his entire and brilliant career without one, based on all the close calls. As you look at the bullpen in action, Camp and Carlson up. Look who's picked off over at first base. Josh Wilson, a little tardy in getting back, and he's thrown out by Ricky Romero.
Ricky Romero does not have a deceptive move to first base, but he's very quick when he steps off and makes the snap throw. That is his best move, and it pays off for him right here, picking off Wilson.
Foul back and out of play now by Johnson. Tonight a much better crowd on hand than during the Baltimore series. 15,306 the paid attendance. 3 balls and a strike. There isn't much left to play for, as you know, other than pride and personal statistics, and surely Romero would just like to get through this inning. He's thrown 108 pitches now. Get through the inning, get his team back at the plate, and give him a chance to pick up a victory here. But that's not going to help. They gave up the single to Wilson, who was picked off. Now Johnson walks. And hasn't Johnson in the 9-hole been dangerous tonight? 2 walks and a double.
And this possibly, depending on what happens here in this at bat with Ichiro, could be the last hitter that Romero faces this evening. If he were to retire Ichiro, you would think that Cito Gaston might let him face Gutierrez, but if he doesn't get Ichiro, he will probably be finished for tonight.
Ball 1. Ichiro singled his first time up, now with 2,019 hits in his major league career. Strike 1.
And that pitch tonight has given Ichiro a lot of trouble. Struck out swinging at a curveball in his second at bat, and takes another weak swing here at a breaking ball in his third at bat this evening. And Romero tries to go back to it again. I correct myself, his fourth at bat this evening, not his third.
Johnson at first, 1 away, the 2-1 pitch, a broken bat roller. Hill has 1 play. Romero is late getting there, and Ichiro beats him to the bag.
Just a very difficult play all the way around. Overbay had to vacate and try to make the play, but because the ball was hit softly, Aaron Hill was able to get over and keep it from going into the outfield and make a play. But with his great speed, Romero does everything he can to get to first base, but just the great speed of Ichiro allows him to beat it out for a base hit.
Time for a new man to come in and pitch as Cito Gaston takes the ball from Romero. It'll be Sean Kemp, and he'll face Gutierrez when we return on Rogers Sportsnet.
wants to put you in the comfort zone. Log on to BlueJays.com for your chance to win an all-expense-paid trip to see the Jays in comfort. TD Canada Trust, putting you in the comfort zone.
Right-hander Sean Camp is on now. He'll face Franklin Gutierrez board here in the 7th inning of play. Ricky Romero departs in a 3-3 game. Gutierrez hit a home run in the 3rd. Camp opens with a strike. He's got that good slider sinker combination. Camp comes off a victory Tuesday night, and finally he's 2-6 on the year. He's put together a solid season, and that ball is foul. Just the one loss record doesn't reflect a good year statistically, but here are some of the numbers. He pitched a 1-2-3 11th against the Orioles on Tuesday night and took the win when Aaron Hill doubled home Jose Bautista in the bottom half. So Camp up against Gutierrez, who is 1 for 3. Rob Johnson, the base runner, at second. Ichiro at first. Here comes Camp, and that's low.
Primary reason, aside from the matchup righty versus righty, that Camp's in the game is because he is a sinker slider type pitcher and is able to oftentimes induce a ground ball and get a double play and get the Jays out of an inning, a tough inning. And he's been very durable, somewhat of a rubber arm. He bounces back very quickly, can pitch often.
When you would go up against a pitcher like Camp, a guy with, as you say, the good slider and a good sinker, a sinker that runs in on a right-hander, runs away from a right-hander, what kind of game plan would you take to the plate?
Against a guy like Sean Camp, number one, try to make him get the ball up just a little bit. And as a left-handed hitter, look for the ball on that outer third. He commands quite well, especially to his arm side. And that's where he's going to go against a left-hander. Try to sink it out there away from you, get you to roll over a little bit on it and get a ground ball.
Here's the 1-2 pitch.
It's a little more difficult for a right-hander because that sinker is, boring in on your hands.
Wave and a miss, and there goes Gutierrez. He strikes out. Camp gets the job done there and retires a dangerous hitter. He's got another one coming up to the plate, though, and Jose Lopez.
An excellent pitch. Very good sinker right out there on the outside corner, about knee high, and gets the strikeout.
Lopez playing first base tonight, normally a second baseman with the Mariners. He's got some pop in that bat, too. 25 home runs, 92 driven in. Grounds it softly to short. McDonald has it. He goes across the diamond, and they get him. And so Camp comes in and offers up a little relief to Ricky Romero as two are stranded. We remain tied here at the Rogers Center. Flash brought to you by Toyota. More for you on now at your local Toyota dealer. And Rance, we've arrived at a 3-3 game in a funny way. It seems Ricky Romero was in and out of trouble all night long, and there was Felix Hernandez dominating the Blue Jays, but for a sequence of 3 batters in the 6th inning.
Strangely enough, Aaron Hill led it off with a double. That was followed by that base hit from Adam Lind. And then the first pitch that Vernon Wells saw, he hit it out of the ballpark, and we have a 3-3 ball game.
How many bats has Raul Chavez needed tonight? He's up there swinging again, and he takes it from Hernandez for ball 1. Chavez grounded out to third in the 3rd and was left with a bat handle just as he was 2 innings later.
That's why the home run is such a tremendous weapon. The Jays have 4 hits in this ball game, 3 of them coming back to back, and one of those the 3-run home run.
Now there has been a scoring change. Initially, Hill in the 6th inning was given a double. They have since turned around and charged an error to Beltre. And frankly, I don't agree with that, but that's the beauty of scoring baseball.
Sometimes
that ball was hit hard enough, in my estimation, to get through and go as a hit. And besides, whatever happened to hometown scoring?
Sometimes it can be subjective, that's for sure.
It exists in other cities. We know that well. Here's the 2-2. Strike 3. Hernandez has piled up 9 of those tonight.
And another one with this pitch here, the hard sinking fastball. And that sinker, 2-seamer, has so much movement. It looks as if it's a split finger fastball, but it isn't.
John McDonald 1 for 2. Line to center field and a base hit. King Felix can't solve the number 9 hitter.
His last at bat, a swinging bunt for an infield hit, and here it's the ball up and some good compact swing, a little solid contact, and has his second base hit tonight.
A man on in the 7th inning with 1 away, and Jose Bautista steps in. Hernandez with 9 strikeouts tonight. He has gone into double digits twice this year. 1 more and he will have done it 3 times this season. Up against Bautista, who has struck out twice. In fact, Hernandez now has 798 career strikeouts. And that's 6th all time in Mariners history. He's only 23 years old. Foul back and out of play. The all-time Mariner strikeout king is who else? Randy Johnson. 2,162 with Seattle.
They've had some good arms in Seattle. And Mark Langston, another left-hander with an outstanding arm.
Yeah, Langston is third in that respect. Jamie Moyer second with 1,239.
Mike Moore also was originally a Seattle Mariner.
But here's Felix Hernandez at the age of 23, who already has more strikeouts in his Mariners career than Eric Hansen, Matt Young, Gil Mesh, a number of mainstay starters. And there's another one. He's into double digits now. That's 10 tonight for King Felix. You know, if he stays healthy at his age, there's no question he's going to hit 3,000 strikeouts.
Another good hard sinker. And if you look at him, if you watch his delivery, how free and easy it is, and he appears to have a very loose arm, that would lead you to believe that, you know, he will have a long career and stay healthy for the most part. All pitchers at some time are going to experience a few arm problems. And right now, for the most part throughout this ball game, he hasn't been maximum effort. When he really wants to dial it up again, he can go four-seam fastball and touch 95, 96.
Hill has doubled. He's walked. He's reached on an error and scored. He's behind 0-2. Hernandez with a pitch. Runner goes. Throw to second. And the tag is thrown down on McDonald. He's gone down. And Hill will lead off the eighth for the Jays. End of 7, tied at 3. You're watching Blue Jays baseball on Rogers Sportsnet.
And Home Hardware Building Center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
$15,306 at the Rogers Center tonight for game number 1 of 4 between the Blue Jays and the Mariners. 8th inning of play, and there's your new pitcher, who recently served a 3-game suspension for throwing behind Yankee catcher Jorge Posada. And Jesse Carlson comes in with a chance to face Hall of Fame bound Ken Griffey Jr. He struck out twice in a game he did not start. Mike Sweeney was initially penciled in as the DH for the Mariners tonight, but he's come down with a bad foot after he was hit by a pitch. And look at this. Griffey Jr. smokes this one to center field, and Wells comes down with it. He put on a good swing, and the crowd appreciates it.
Ken Griffey gives it a pretty good ride, but looked like he might have caught it off the end of the bat just a little bit, and a lot of hang time, and that allowed Vernon Wells to easily make the catch.
Here's Beltre again. Strike one.
And again, you wouldn't think so, but Jesse Carlson against right-handed pitchers this year has been more effective than he has against left-handers. Right-handers hitting .243 against him. The Jays ironically have a number of left-handed pitchers who are more effective against right-handed hitters than they are left-handers.
A line shot, and that gets over Hill into center field. Beltre puts on the brakes past first and has a base hit. So Bill Hall steps back in. Hall has a pair of singles, both coming against Ricky Romero. Ball one from Carlson. Tomorrow night we'll have the game for you here on Sportsnet, 7 Eastern time, 4 Pacific. Roy Halladay takes the hill for the Blue Jays, 15-10 on the year. It could well be his last ever start in this ballpark as a member of the Blue Jays. Doug Fister goes for the Mariners. There's the matchup. Halladay, in his last start Sunday in Tampa Bay, lost, running his record to 15-10. The Tampa Bay Rays beat Roy Halladay 4 times this year. Boy, they seem to have his number.
Would lead you to believe that they picked up something with his delivery and they have his pitches.
Now, Doc has also suffered from a serious lack of run support in a losing situation. In fact, in his 10 losses this year, the Blue Jays have scored a grand total of 22 in support of Halladay.
And Carl Crawford has always hit him well.
Strike one.
But sometimes, for whatever reason, we've talked about it before, a certain club just has your number. And even when you pitch well, it seems like you get beat 3-1, 2-1.
The 3-1 pitch, well off the plate, and Hall draws a walk. Jeremy Accardo in his blue glove, warming up in the pen now, as Carlson has yielded a base hit and now a walk. So there are now 2 aboard, and here comes the second baseman. Matt Tuiasosopo has hit into a sacrifice fly, driving in a run in the second, single to center in the fourth inning, and then lined out to center his last time up. First pitch on the way, high and inside. Carlson checks the runner and gets a strike, the count even on Tuiasosopo. I don't mind admitting this, Rance. That's the hardest name in Major League Baseball to pronounce. I might just call him Matt from here on in.
Or the second baseman. Good size second baseman, too. He's listed in the Mariners official guide as 6'2", 225.
Carlson now on the 3-1, and it's a strike. Tuiasosopo had to halt his movement towards first, and so he's faced with a full count now. Here's Chavez with a series of signs. Beltre and Hall, the base runners, in a tie game, top of the 8th inning, and it's whacked to right field. Bautista comes to the line, plays the baseball, and he's got the bullet and brings it into third. 2 gone now, and we'd like to remind you that the final home game of the season comes your way on Sunday, and the Blue Jays, in conjunction with Home Hardware, are giving away 10,000 fleece blankets. Is that Terry? Are you warm enough? You could use one of those fleeces, Terry. 10,000 of them on Sunday to be given away. 416-341-1234 is the number to call for tickets. BlueJays.com has them as well. I don't know what Terry's thinking over there. It's not that cold here. Here's Josh Wilson now. 2 on and 2 out. And Carlson tries him outside. It's 1-0. Wilson singled in the 7th inning, but was picked off by Ricky Romero. He sends this to center field, and that is trouble. The ball gets down up against the wall. Beltre storms home. The Mariners lead. Hall is right behind him. The throw to the plate not in time, and he is safe as Josh Wilson drives in 2. It's 5-3 Seattle.
Drives the ball deep into right center. And Hall, you can tell he's not running hard. I don't know if he's got a leg bothering him or what, but this is a ball he should have scored easily on, and he was almost out at the plate. That is a very close play, because initially he did not run hard off of first base.
He even took the time as he was running down the line to transfer his batting glove so he could swipe the plate on his way by.
Well, it was clear the ball was going to be a base hit all the way, aside from the fact that it's 2 outs, so you're going to be running hard.
Scored a triple for Josh Wilson. 2 RBIs on the play. 5-3 now here in the 8th inning in favor of Seattle. Rob Johnson has walked twice, scored once, doubled once, and now falls behind 1-2 at the hands of Jesse Carlson. Here's the pitch, grounded to third, backhanded by Encarnacion, and the runner at first is gone, but the Mariners scored twice on Wilson's triple and lead 5-3. By Burger King, home of the Whopper. Moments ago, Josh Wilson at the plate, 2 out, 2 men on. Jesse Carlson deals, and the ball is stroked to center field. Wilson ends up with a triple. Beltre and Hall come in to score. Seattle takes the 5-3 lead, and that is the at-home play of the game. Visit BlueJays.com to register for a chance to win prizes with the Burger King Superfan Contest. So those runs are to the benefit of Felix Hernandez as he continues for the Mariners here in the bottom of the 8th inning and resumes his battle with Aaron Hill. And Hill comes up swinging, lines his shot to the gap in left center field. He's got extra bases. And now he hits second and decides to put the brakes on.
And this is why, with the count 0-2 in the bottom of the 7th, they started McDonald off of first base. If he's safe, he's in scoring position. If not, he gets thrown out. Aaron Hill starts with a fresh count here in the bottom of the 8th. It pays off.
And if not for the scoring change from that shot in the 6th inning, he'd have 3 doubles tonight. Instead, he's got 2. And Adam Lind approaches the plate now. He singled and came in to score in the 6th inning on the game-tying home run by Vernon Wells. Strike 1.
There is not a hitter, at least that I have seen in the American League, that can move the fastball with any more consistency than Aaron Hill.
Cut on and missed by Lind. He's 0-2 now. Hernandez has now thrown his 100th pitch. And he's still throwing heat. That first pitch to Lynn came in at 93 miles an hour. And he grounds to the right side. Lopez takes it. At the very least, it's a productive at bat for Lind as he moves Hill to third. Well, Vernon Wells, go ahead, Rance.
And again, if you're Vernon Wells in this situation, play to your strength. He's a good high ball hitter. Likes that ball around the belt or just above. So right here in this at bat, try to make him get the ball up a little bit.
Hernandez started him with a first pitch hanging curveball and goes with something a little harder here.
You could almost anticipate with the first pitch to Wells, considering what happened in the last at bat, Hernandez was going to put a lot of emphasis on making sure he gets the ball down. That first pitch to Vernon Wells looked like it might have been a little bit low, but he gets the call.
A floater down the line, and boy, that kissed foul territory by inches. As right-hander Randy Messenger starts to throw. That's exactly why the umpire at third places himself right on that line behind third base. It's 0-2 on Wells. One out. Aaron Hill at third. And a slapper to right field scores the run. Wells drives him home. Hill is in. And it's 5-4 for the Mariners now. Vernon Wells has knocked in all 4 runs.
And an outstanding piece of hitting by Vernon Wells. Clearly just cut down on his swing. That was a nasty pitch. And just trying to make some contact probably and make sure that even if he grounds out, they get that run in. And now it's just a 1-run ball game as it is. He singles into right field. And that's a pitch that Hernandez definitely wanted to bury. Make sure that it.
Little floater out to center field, and the ball hangs up, so Gutierrez is able to break in and make the catch. But he had to come a long way to get to it, and there are 2 away now.
Yeah, the ball hung up and he had plenty of time, but again, that last pitch to Vernon Wells, Hernandez was really upset with himself because he didn't get it down and off the plate where he wanted to.
Now here it is in the bottom of the 8th, 2 out. Vernon Wells, who is Toronto's leading base stealer, stands at first. At some point, do you try and get him into scoring position in this at bat, Rance?
Well, not 0-1. It's not a good count to run in.
There goes Wells. Swung on and missed. It doesn't matter anyway because Overbase strikes out. And the 8th inning comes to an end. The Blue Jays with 2 hits and a run. They cut that lead. It's Seattle by 1 now as Jeremy Accardo comes in. Information provided by StatsInc. It is a little cool here tonight, no question there. We are deep into September now, the 24th of the month. And tonight at the Rogers Center, it's the Blue Jays trailing the Mariners 5-4. So glad you've joined us. This is Jamie Campbell with Rance Mulliniks and Sam Cosentino. Watching is Jeremy Accardo, who's been up and down, AAA to the majors this year. Pitches for the 25th time at the big league level. He's a 27-year-old from Mesa, Arizona, who was acquired in the middle of the 2006 season from the San Francisco Giants. Shea Hillenbrand and Vinny Chalk were sent the other way. Top of the order for the Mariners, and this is Ichiro. 2 for 4. Franklin Gutierrez on deck. Jose Lopez, the third batter here in the 9th inning for Seattle. Suzuki has bumped his average to 356. Flies this to left field. It backs up Snyder. And there's one away. For the rest of the series, we've talked about the matchup tomorrow night. Roy Halladay goes against Doug Fister. On Saturday, a 1 o'clock game has David Percy against right-hander Ian Snell. And then the home season wraps up on Sunday with Brian Tallett against the lefty Ryan Roland Smith. Grounded to third. Encarnacion gets to it, but not in time to get the runner at first.
Great effort by Encarnacion just to make this close. Ranging far to his left, diving up to his knees. Quick snap throw right on the money, and bang, bang at first base. That was a call that could have went either way.
He's really emerged as a good player the last couple of weeks. Encarnacion. As Accardo checks the runner. You cannot replace, obviously, the defense of Scott Rowland. Nobody can. I mean, we've heard veterans of 30 and 40 years in the big leagues say that Rowland is a better defensive third baseman than Brooks Robinson. But offensively, Encarnacion's really started to come alive, and at times shows a pretty good glove there at third as that's bounced up the middle and gets through. Lopez singles. Gutierrez up to second now. So first and second for Seattle. They're hoping to expand on a 1-run lead here in the 9th inning.
And balls that haven't been hit real hard. Jeremy Accardo able to get the ground ball from Gutierrez, but he was able to beat it out in the last ball by Lopez. Just bounced right up the middle, but not hit real hard. So good movement, taking the sting out of the bat. Just a little bit of tough luck right now for Accardo.
The 1-0 pitch, now 2-0 on Griffey. This is Seattle's last road trip of the year. After Sunday's game, they head home and take on the A's for 3. And then the Texas Rangers in the final weekend of the regular season. It may possibly be the last time we see Ken Griffey Jr. playing Major League Baseball. Frankly, a lot of people thought that when he was traded to the White Sox at the tail end of last year that maybe that would have been it. But what a story, the return of Griffey Jr. to Seattle, where he really made a name for himself.
Might have eventually, if not for some injuries, been the all-time home run king. Because he was, when he left Seattle and went to Cincinnati, he was well on his way to having an excellent opportunity to surpass, at that time, Hank Aaron. And due to some injuries that really took away a lot of playing time in Cincinnati, that's at this point obviously not going to happen.
You can compute the lost time for Griffey not so much into games but seasons. I mean, he lost 3, maybe 4 seasons to injury. And in the prime of his career, if you're thinking, well, you know, on average, say 40 home runs a year, maybe a little more, that's a lot of home runs that have gone missing.
I think it's be more than fair to say he would have 100 more.
He draws a walk here. That draws the scorn of the crowd. It's ball 4 and the bases are loaded.
And you know, when I think of the injuries to Griffey, the next guy that comes to mind is Paul Molitor, because Paul Molitor was able to finish with over 3,000 hits and of course a Hall of Famer. But Paul Molitor basically missed the equivalent of 3 full seasons at the major league level due to injury. So that really tells you how good he was.
Well, here's a nice gesture by...
Guys, a big round of applause for Ken Griffey Jr. as he comes out of the game, and so too does the game ball. His 1,300th career walk, a milestone, and surely a ball that will make it up on the mantle with several others in the Griffey household.
Yeah, I can only imagine how many he has. But he's replaced by Michael Saunders. The pride of Victoria is the pinch runner at first. There's ball 1 inside to Beltre. Saunders has been one of the top prospects in Seattle's system now for a couple of years. He gets a chance to get some FaceTime on Rogers Sportsnet for some of the folks watching back in his hometown. Hopefully we'll be able to see him start a game in this series as Accardo readies for the 1-0. Here it comes, and Beltre swings and misses.
No doubt a huge situation here for Jeremy Accardo and the Jays. Keep this a 1-run ball game going to the bottom of the 9th. A base hit right here, and it's going to put the Mariners back in a very comfortable position with a 3-run lead.
Fought off foul by Beltre. Seattle's closer is David Aardsma. And very quietly, he's racked up 35 saves this year. Not bad for a guy who really kicked around the majors and went from one team to the next. San Francisco, the Cubs, the White Sox, Boston. He's found himself a closer's role in Seattle. There's the 1-2. way outside. 2-2. Due up for the Blue Jays in their half of the ninth, the 7, 8, and 9 hitters, Travis Snyder, Raul Chavez, and John McDonald. Ball 3. So here comes a critical pitch for Jeremy Accardo here in the 9th inning. Trying to keep that lead for Seattle at 1. Bases loaded. Beltre at the plate. And the payoff is on the way. And it's fouled back. In on the fists, popped up. Chavez cannot get to it as it rolls into the dugout.
And Adrian Beltre helps Accardo out here, chasing what clearly would have been ball 4. And throughout his career, this is where Jeremy Accardo struggles. Is with his control. Has a very good arm, but has never been able to really be consistent outing to outing with his command.
Well, Beltre went back and got himself a new bat. Makes his way back to the plate here with the bases loaded for the Mariners. Gutierrez stands at third. Jose Lopez at second. Michael Saunders at first. Pinch running for Ken Griffey Jr. 1 out. 5-4 Seattle. And Accardo deals. And that's fouled away as well. Ripped to right field, and it's twisting toward the seats and out of play. Ten pitches have been thrown. 6 have been fouled away. What a battle ongoing here between Accardo and Beltre. Accardo now sets for another. And here it comes. He got a ground ball right to John McDonald. There's Hill, there's Overbay, and that gets them out of the inning. A 6-4-3, and the Blue Jays then come to the plate in the bottom of the ninth, down by 1.
Well, Accardo was finally able to get a ball down in the strike zone with some sinks and gets the routine double play ball.
it coming your way, and without question, the big story is Wayne Gretzky no longer the coach of the Phoenix Coyotes. They'll have the details coming up on Sportsnet after the game, and then keep you up to date on the first round of the Tour Championship. Well, what a line for Felix Hernandez. He was awfully good tonight, and after 8 innings of work, has himself a 1-run lead in the bottom of the 9th inning.
And he, along with the Mariners, will put it in the hands of David Aardsma to close this game out and give Hernandez his 17th win on the season.
And what an interesting story. David Aardsma, for the most part, a journeyman the last little while, but has been the closer for the Mariners. Remember, they ended up packaging off J.J. Putz in a deal with the New York Mets. And Aardsma has taken the reins in this respect. He faces Travis Snider. He picked up his 35th save on the 17th of this month. Just the 6th pitcher in club history with 30+ saves on a year. 2-0 on Snider, and that's a strike. In fact, Aardsma is the 9th player in big league history to record a 30-save season without a prior career save heading into the year. He's never had a save before this year, and now he has 35 of them. He sets, and the 2-1, and it's fouled away, 2-2. The other men who have done that are all recent Major League Ball players, names you will probably recognize, like Billy Koch and Eric Gagne, Derek Turnbow, Jonathan Papelbon, just to name a few. 2-2 outside. One thing that Cito Gaston has noticed in Travis Snider lately is increased patience at the plate, Rance.
He has been much better in the 4 games that since I have been back in the broadcast booth. He's shown a lot more patience, and even when he's fell behind in the count, there's been no panic.
Snider opens the Jays' 9th with a walk, brings up Raul Chavez 0 for 3 against Hernandez. He faces Aardsma now. A 1-run Seattle lead. Tying run at first, and Snider breaks for second as the ball is fouled into the right field seats.
Yeah, the Jays playing a little hit and run. Chavez, who handles the bat well, running off of first base, and it looked like Chavez was trying to hit the ball to right field. Take advantage of the hole on the right side, maybe create a 1st and 3rd situation. You know, sometimes, Jamie, with the hit and run, instead of try to hit the ball to right field, just go ahead and react normally, and wherever the pitch is at, that's where you try to take it. Go ahead and let it go, as opposed to try to force the ball to a particular field.
One and one on Chavez, with Snider taking his lead at first. Aardsma sets. Here's the pitch, and it's hit to center field. Gutierrez settles under it and chases Snider back to first. One down, and John McDonald is announced on his 35th birthday. McDonald tonight has picked up a pair of base hits. He is 2 for 3. He sees Ardsma for the first time. And the right-hander checks Snyder again.
Snyder running off of first base on the first pitch to Chavez most certainly has gotten Ardsma's attention.
They pitch out. Boy, they're really concerned about him.
Either that or they've gotten a bad scouting report. One or the other. Snyder traditionally not a base stealer, and of course in this situation the only way you want him to run is if there's no chance that the Mariners could throw him out. Sometimes you get a little too concerned with the runner at first base. It leads them to a mistake to the hitter. And that pitch, a good one for John McDonald to hit. Had a good hack at it, fouling it straight back.
Hit in the air to left field. Back goes Hall, and it's a fly out as McDonald is erased for the second out. So Ardsma now 1 out away from locking down his 36th save in 40 chances. Well, Rance, in case this game is not extended by Bautista, I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to you on behalf of all of us at Sportsnet. This is your final broadcast of the year. It's been great working with you again.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it very much myself.
Pat Tabler will be in tomorrow and will take over from here on in as Bautista takes a pitch low. Hard to believe the season has whizzed by so quickly, as there's a check swing foul.
It has gone by very quickly. Seems like the older I get, the faster they go by.
It works that way, does it?
Well, it does for me.
Ardsma now with a 1-1 pitch. He delays, comes to the plate, and Bautista stepped away.
And fortunately for him, the ball was inside.
Sure enough. There's a big cut. It's 2-2. And the Blue Jays are down to their last strike. Ardsma deals, and Johnson can't grip the baseball. So Ardsma then tries again, checks Snyder at first. Sets and throws in the dirt. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And if he looks toward the Blue Jay dugout, he'll notice that Tuesday night's walk-off hero Aaron Hill is on deck.
You know the Seattle Mariners, they're sitting over here in the dugout. And the last thing we want to do is see that man at the plate here in this inning.
He won't have to. He just struck out Bautista to end the ball game as the Mariners win the opener 5-4. For Rance Mullinick, Sam Cosentino, Scott Carson, and our entire Sportsnet crew, I'm Jamie Campbell. Good night from Toronto.